I realized that I don't want to waste my life, Dean. I don't. We have so much potential inside of us every single day. Like, every single day is an opportunity, and respect the opportunity every single day.
I think it's important for those that don't know your story, if you wouldn't mind going, I know you're not a guy that loves to talk about yourself. You always want to give. You're always giving. You're always talking about the audience. But I think it'd be great here just to take a few minutes and kind of share, why are you, were you doing tweets and then start doing videos? And
Sure.
Now you got this passion that every video you do is so full of passion. I'd love to share where it came from.
For sure. How y'all doing, first of all? Y'all good? Yeah. There we go. Say it like you mean it. Y'all good? There we go. I'll try to, I wouldn't say shorten this story, but, tell it as best as I can. But just a little background with me, from me is, football was my whole life. And when I talk about football, I always tell people, for some people, it's a relationship that's their whole life. For some people, it's their job, whatever it may be. But that was my identity, football, since I was 5 years old growing up in New Orleans. That's all that I knew was sports. And, blessed enough, high school, I was a standout in Fort Worth, Texas. Then I got a scholarship to Baylor University, a full athletic scholarship, and my parents definitely thanked me for that, it was kind of rocky because that's my first time ever feeling like I wasn't enough, because when I first got there, my ego was pretty big, I'm a high school standout in Texas. When I got there, I got redshirted. And I'm like, what is this? I can get redshirted? So I got humbled real quick, but I was always taught to work hard, push through it, and have faith. And my career at Baylor was very rocky. Like, I don't know if any of y'all are Baylor Bear fans or college football, but the Baylor Bears you see today wasn't the Baylor Bears that we were. We had losing records all the time, right? Before the RG3 days. Worked really hard, got a chance to make it to the NFL. And that's kind of where my life took a plummet. And you got to realize, that was my Mount Everest. That was my everything since I was a little kid to make it to the NFL. And to get there and for my life to really hit a downward spiral really put me in depression. So I don't know if any of y'all guys watch the videos or, tune into my messages. A lot of people ask, how can you connect so well with people that are depressed and stressed? Because I've been that person. I know how it feels to be hurt. I know how it feels to lose something. When I made it to the NFL, I was an undrafted free agent. My whole college career, I was projected to go 4th and 5th round, and you're sitting there waiting for the phone to ring, and it's not ringing. And your parents are asking, Trent, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm smiling for the camera, but dying behind the scenes, like a lot of people do, right? I'm all right. Really inside, I was like, man, what's going on? I was like, I have to get drafted because that's just my whole entire life. Made it to the Colts, but in a great situation. Right after the year they won the Super Bowl, I got a chance to play with a guy named Peyton Manning. Y'all might know him, right? We got some Peyton fans in here. All right. Coach Dungy was my coach, and I couldn't be in a better position to be around champions. But I have to be honest with you guys. When I got there, I was so worried about living the lifestyle than working hard. Because when I went back to Fort Worth, I had to prove to people that I made it. So I bought the car. Not saying you can't have nice things, but I would ask you, what do you have those nice things for? Is it for yourself or to please others? For me, it was to please other people and put myself on a pedestal. So I bought all these things, and my contract wasn't even guaranteed, right? And so I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I ended up getting cut 6 or 7 times throughout my process. From the Colts, I got cut 3 times. After the preseason, they brought me back, cut me again. I drove all the way from Indy back down to Texas. As soon as I get back down to Texas, I want to bring you back. I'm like, what? You could have told me that 2 weeks ago, right? And at that point, my life started to hit a spiral. And I started to turn to things, just to be real with you, things that would fill me up for the moment, give me a temporary high, a temporary fix. And I realized, doing those things is like a cup with a tiny hole in it, right? You can pour water in that cup, but eventually what happens? That cup will be empty again. And that's what I was doing in my life, going to these things and going to these clubs and doing all these things just to find significance, because I had to prove to myself that I made it. Fast forward a little bit, ended up getting cut from the Colts after the season, went to the Seattle Seahawks. And really, Dean, this is where I hit my downward spiral, for real. I got cut again 3 or 4 times. And at that point, I'm trying to fake it till I make it for everybody. I have a child on the way. I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? And I went to school for speech communications, but to be real with you, I took speech communications because I didn't want to fail out of Baylor. And it's funny how I'm using that now, right? And y'all can laugh, right? And what did it with me with the Seahawks, and this is nothing against the organization, but I remember I was at home in Fort Worth, and I was cut at the point, maybe it's like November. They said, hey, they called me, say, hey, Trent, we want to bring you back. And I'm like, can I come back tomorrow? Because I'm in Dallas. Say, no, you need to get on a plane tonight. Come tonight. So I drove all the way from Dallas to Fort Worth, which is a good drive. pack my stuff. I get on Facebook and tell everybody, I'm back with the Seahawks, and I'm proud, I'm happy. Get to the airport, pack my bags, I get a call. It's a 206 number, which is Seattle, if you know. I pick it up and say, hello? They say, Trent, we changed our mind, never mind. Yeah, y'all can laugh now. I can laugh about it now, right? I'm like, at that point, I was devastated. So I'm like, are you serious? And so honestly, I didn't really care about living anymore at that point in my life. I went to the Redskins and, it was kind of the same thing, but I always tell people that my rock bottom saved my life. If it wasn't for I'm like thanking Dan Snyder and whoever was at the Seahawks at the time and the Colts, Bill Poley and all those guys for cutting me, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So I hit my rock bottom, and I just told myself, I said I had a choice to make. And every single day, you got to realize this. Each and every one of you in here have a choice. You can either sink or you can swim. We all have struggles. Anybody perfect in here, right? We all have struggles. We all have problems. And so I had to make that choice, either sink or swim. And I decided at that moment, for my child, for my friend that committed suicide, that's a whole nother story. One of my best friends, he committed suicide. And I made a choice to say, you know what? I'm going to do something with my life. This is not the end of my life. This is just a chapter of it. This is not going to be my story. And so I started saying this thing called Rehab Time. And I never wanted to be a speaker, ever. Like, this is my biggest fear. My biggest fear, to stand in front of people and speak. So I never wanted to be a speaker. I never wanted to start a nonprofit organization. Honestly, I wanted to catch touchdown passes my whole life. So Rehab Time was, for me, was getting my mind, my body, and soul right, but it was for myself. And as you see, as I start to share my journey and post it on Facebook and show people like, it's Rehab Time, and make these little videos for myself. These videos really wasn't to inspire anybody outside of Trent Shelton, honestly. That was it. But I realized something. We all have struggles. We all have struggles. Maybe not alike, but at the same time, they're still similar, right? And people start to take to these videos. And to make a long story short, these videos started spreading across the world, and people starting to share it. And I remember when I first got 100 shares, I was like, man, 100 shares on Facebook, I made it, right? I'm good. And now, it's all the way up to 1 million views. And it's never about the numbers, but the numbers show the growth in the process.
How many lives you're affecting.
Exactly. And that's how Rehab Time started, Dean, in a short period of time. And, I'm just thankful that I realized football wasn't the end of my story. It was just a chapter. And I think so many times we get so lost in what we want to do. When it fails, we think that it's over. But sometimes I would say failure is when you quit. But if you use certain things as a teaching lesson, as a learning lesson to grow you and get better, if it wasn't for those times, I wouldn't be able to speak on stages across the world for 2 hours. If I wouldn't have went through all those things to help people. So your struggle, your quote unquote failure, it's always bigger than you. It's to help other people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is that a great story or what? Man, it's so good to have you here. And I got so many questions, and there's so many, Trent traveled around the country. How many cities did you go to? 36?
32 last year.
He did 32 cities last year, just literally telling people on Facebook. He's doing an event, pretty much sold out all these events just through his following on Facebook, which I thought was amazing. And that's why I want to help get his message out to the world. So, it doesn't matter whether it's real estate, life, relationships, the foundational pieces that allow people to live a fulfilled life. The more you learn, the more you realize how narrow that field is, right? And we were talking in here yesterday and the day before, we had some great people up talking about, picking a swimming lane. Like, so many times in life, we have so many things going on.
Right.
We have opportunity overload, and we're dabbling in all these pieces. So I guess listening to you, and there's so many different ways I can go with questions, but listening to you, you said something that the first time you told me we were at lunch, but it just is impactful now, is you realized that football was a chapter of your book. It wasn't your whole book. It wasn't your whole life story. Saying that, you kind of blew through, when you were down and then you came back up.
Right.
But still, you had to go through that journey. When was it, and what helped you realize that that was just a chapter? Because now it's easy to say, right? But when you were going through it, thinking about not wanting to live or not sure what you had, or turn into, things that just filled you for a moment, what do you think were those things that inspired you to keep going?
Man, that's a super hard question. I'm glad you asked it. I will at least touch on this to say the moment I realized that this was my purpose, because for me, I wasn't sure about it. And for so long, I was still holding on to what I knew I should let go of. Even when I started speaking, I still in the back of my mind wanted to go back to football. And the moment that really changed my life, honestly, it's 2 moments actually, that really made me realize I had my very first speaking engagement, I'll call it. It's very big. It's at a church in Dallas, 500 kids. 5,000 kids. And my friend Jonathan Evans, Dr. Tony Evans is his dad, and he asked me to come speak at his church. And at that moment, I'm like, you want me to speak? About what? And I'm just like, you know me, like I'm an introvert outside of, me. At the time I was trying to be a rapper, just being honest with you. Outside of that, I'm an introvert. I love to think. And he's like, Trent, I see something in you don't see in yourself. And when I heard those words, it sparked something. I'm like, well, what do you see? And he just smiled. He said, just come speak. He's like, when I talk to you, Trent, you have something about you that it's a gift, and you don't even realize it yet. I'm like, all right, cool. And he asked me this question. I guess this is like the man thing to get me to come speak. He was like, what, are you scared or something? And I'm like, no, I'm not scared. But really, I was like shaking in my boots, right? I'm like, no, I'm not scared, right? And he was like, I was like, well, let me get some things understood first. And this is just a funny story to transfer me transferring to my speaking career. So I said, let me get a few things first, because I'm not just going to jump in full-fledged and not know what I'm getting myself into. So I said, okay, well, Jonathan, let me get these things understood. So first of all, who am I speaking to, right? And he said, you're speaking to teenagers. And if you ever spoke in front of teenagers before, that is the hardest crowd ever, right? They on their cell phones, make you feel like you're the most uninteresting, boring person in the world. As a speaker, I'm like, I cannot sign myself up for that in my first speaking engagement. And so he's like, what, you scared? And I'm like, okay, here you go with this one again. I'm scared, all right? I said, no, I'm not scared. He's like, I see something you don't see in yourself. I said, okay, teenage. I said, it couldn't be that bad. I can go up there, I can talk about football. They relate to it. I said, okay, well, how many? And I already told you guys, he was like, 5,000. I'm like, 5,000? So my very first time, teenagers and 5,000 kids, you want me to go speak in front of that? And he's like, what? You scared? And I'm just like, dawg, this is not gonna keep, like, you can't keep using this on me, right? And I was like, no, I'm not scared. And I said, okay, fine, 5,000. I said, maybe I can go speak for like 2 minutes, because at that time, I started to make the videos, right? But they were like rehab-ish videos, right? I was living on the fence, you know, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And so I was making those videos, and he said, well, you're only gonna speak for 5 minutes. And I'm like, 5 minutes? That's too long. I was like, you've seen the videos. I only make 2-minute videos. That's all I got in me, right? That's all I got, 2 minutes. And he was like, what? You scared? I was like, all right, fine, I'll go do it. And to make that long story short, I went there, and I was supposed to report back to Arena football the next day. But I told my coach, I said, I have to do the speaking engagement. Can I come to New Orleans the next day? He said, fine. So I get on stage, and at that point, I knew it was something bigger for my life. I get on stage, and he sees me backstage, and he cracks the most corniest jokes. He's like, I'm just trying to loosen you up, man. I get on there, and I've never to this day seen a room full of people stay engaged to my speech like that. The kids were just looking at me like, and after they asked me all these questions about life, and I'm like, I'm not there yet. But I called my coach immediately. And you gotta realize, this is how I pay my bills. I want y'all to get this. Like, this is how I took care of my family. So it wasn't like I had a lot of stuff set up for Rehab Time. This is really stepping out on faith and saying, I'm burning the bridge, so I have no choice but to move forward. And sometimes in life, you have to do that, right? Mm-hmm. So I called the coach and said, I'm not coming. He said, well, what are you gonna do? I said, well, I'm gonna be a speaker. He said, click. He hung up on me, right? And so now he actually hit me not too long ago. He's like, I love your videos, you're right? Yeah. And so then I had to make 2 more calls that were very tough. My coach and I was just like, man, this is not going good. I said, I had to, with my faith, with God, I had a deal with God. I was like, hey, I need to go 3 out of 3. Like, if you're not going 3 out of 3, I'm going back to football. So I was 0 for 1, right, with him. I called my friends that I thought would understand. My boy Corey's here. He understood, but a lot of my friends, they said, you're crazy. You're going to leave this lifestyle, all of this for that, to be a speaker? That is stupid. And I want you to understand something. When you have and you guys know this, when you have a big vision, a big dream, something like that, a lot of people are not going to get it. But it's your vision. It's not for everybody to understand that. And the people that tell you what you can't do, those will be the same people once you do it, that'll be like, I told you can do it, right? The whole time, right? The whole time. But you got to realize that. And that's the thing that I told myself. I said, no matter what, I'm not letting anybody talk me out of my greatness. So many times we let social media, all these people talk us out of our greatness. So I made up my mind at that moment. I told my friends, look, okay, cool. And I realized who my true friends were. Because my circle we can talk about this in a little, my circle went from this, it was so small, my circle turned from a circle to a dot, honestly. It was tiny, right? And then the last call I had to make was to my parents. And that was hard for me because my dad, he supports me in anything, my mom, but they were so proud. Oh, my son plays for the NFL, and I made up in my mind, we create these stories, right? Yeah. As y'all know. And I created this story that my parents only love me because I play sports, which is totally untrue. And so when I called them, I was praying my dad answered the phone. I was praying, my dad answered the phone. And actually my mom did, and I was like, I got my mom, man. Like I want to talk to my dad, he's a lot easier to talk to. And my mom, she picked up the phone and said, hello. She said, how did it go? I said, Mom, it went great, but I just want to tell you I'm through with football. That's how I sounded on the phone. I'm like, hello? Numbers are still going, so I know she's still on the phone. And she said, okay. I said, well, what you gonna do? And I said, rehab time. And she said, okay, like, do you have a plan? I said, nah. I said, my only plan is to keep moving forward no matter what and to give my all every single day. And she got quiet and she said, baby, you know what? Whatever it is you wanna do, I'll support you. And from that moment on, rehab time grew. It grew, it grew, it grew, and it grew because I made a decision. And once I saw that and the reaction from people, I mean, you've seen Zariah, the little girl, to get a 5-year-old little girl watch a video, and that's the other moment that really let me know this is my purpose. Not just a dream, but a purpose, you know? And a purpose is, you know, I always say sometimes dreams and purposes are together, but my dream was football. But this is my purpose, something that fills me up no matter how much money, doesn't matter how many people in the room, like this really fills me up regardless. And to see a 4-year-old, 5-year-old little girl get my message and tell her mom in the video she needs to watch this. I said, okay.
It's an amazing video.
I'm doing something special right now. And I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And ever since then, man, I dedicated my life, like signed up forever for it. It wasn't just a thought or idea and saying, oh, maybe I should do this. I signed up forever. And I'll never quit.
Well, you're doing an amazing job, man. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so there's people out here facing that same thought process of burning the boat.
Right.
Like, and I know you talked about purpose, and we talk about a lot of the terminology I use is find your why, right? Finding your why, finding your purpose. Yeah. So what encouragement or what have you shared with people in the past or when you go up on stage on how to have the courage to burn the boat? Even if you're a doer, sometimes we get caught, right? We think that maybe we should be happy where we are, but we have that, you said before, smile on the outside, but the inside's screaming for more. Right. You know there's more gas in the tank. You know you have more potential. But how do you make that decision, or what helped you make that decision just to burn the boat? Or better, what have you shared on the results of when you finally burned the boat?
Right. Well, one thing that I like to talk about, Dean, and I'll try to break it down a little bit. Well, now I call it, championship mode. And for me, with me relating to sports, always had the need, the desire, should I say, to win championships in my life, to play in a championship game. I don't know if any of y'all ever played in a championship game or whatever your championship may be, like an awesome day at work, right? And I've always been attracted to how you don't need to get yourself psyched up for that, right? It's hard to sleep. Like you want to do whatever it is that you can to make sure that, you win your championship. And so I told myself at that time that my championship, honestly, was going to be rehab time. And so just to break it down a little bit, I might go all over the place, so please bear with me with this. But you talked about something that I would like to touch on, even with your why, right? And a lot of people, honestly, when you ask, and I'm sure y'all doing here because y'all are great people, but at one point I didn't know my why. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I realized the magnet, I call it a magnet that pulls me back, right? You have magnets in your life. You have something that can pull you forward and something that can pull you back. And so I realized that all my magnets in my life were pulling me back. And so when I talk about friendships, and I'm not trying to end any friendships in here or whatever, right? But when I talk about friendships, I had to realize that had to help me cut off the bridge because mindsets are very contagious. And for me, that was the big thing. The people that were around me, right? They couldn't see bigger. They couldn't dream bigger. They wanted to be just the man in the city, like in Fort Worth. That's all that they saw. And so for me, I was living that. Like I wanted just to be successful in Fort Worth, and that was it. So I always hit that ceiling that I couldn't go anymore. So I wanted to get around people that can push me outside of my comfort zone. Period. And those people, honestly, were people I didn't know. No. I started picking up books, watch Tony Robbins, watch a lot of people I got around. Dean now. And those people pushed me outside of my comfort zone. So I realized that I have to change my circle. And when my circle got smaller, my vision got clearer. I want y'all to understand that. A lot of times we think it's about having such a big team, and that's awesome if you can. If you have everybody on the same page. For my life, speaking about for me, my circle was huge, but I had so much drama, so much gossip. But when I lost certain things out of my life, and really I think sometimes the best way to add is to subtract, especially in certain things in your life. And my life changed, honestly, Dean, because my mindset changed. And so now I started to be around different people. I saw new visions. I saw new passion, new goals, and that pushed me outside of my comfort zone. My why, right? My why was my family, my son. I had 2 whys, and I know I touched on it earlier, but my college roommate committed suicide. You know, one of my best friends, and it hurts for me to talk about this, so if I get emotional, please forgive me. But somebody that you grew up with, somebody that you worked hard with, my roommate, honestly. And when you see him throw his life away, you know, because whatever problems he was going through, and to see that, and I started to think like he couldn't even call me, right? I'm so busy with my life that my own friend, one of my best friends couldn't even call me. And so I'm like, what am I doing in my life? What am I doing in my life? I got to change something. And so I promised myself at that moment. And when I first started this, I did it. But now my phone will be going crazy. I can't do it no more. But I open up my phone line. I would get on Facebook and say, if you have a problem right now, call me. I might not can respond to everybody, but if you text me, I'm going to sit there for 2 hours and respond to as many people as I can because I made a promise to him that I would keep him alive through me. So when you have that why like that, a why that won't let you quit no matter what, your why has to be bigger than you. Because if it's all about you, I promise you, you will quit on yourself. But when you have something that's greater than you, bigger than you, which I had, it made me not quit. My son, of course. My family, of course. Rehabbers across the world now. Those are my why. I always say strong why, strong action. Weak why, weak action. I got to hike Camelback. Anybody hike Camelback before? Right? Exactly. He said it right? Woo, right? And I always like to use this as an analogy because and it's not for everybody, so I'm not judging anybody. But I love working out because, and I'll be honest, I just did it with Dean 4 months ago and I didn't make it to the top. I was out of shape and just being real with you. And at that moment, I said, you know what? I got to get my life right and get in championship mode. But sometimes working out, I love it because it shows one's mindset, right? And when you have a strong why, people ask, why don't I quit when I hike Camelback or do all these things? Why do I'm always in championship mode? Because I know passion, potential, progression is very contagious in your life. If you quit on something, if you quit on even just working out, it will flood into other areas of your life. And so that why built in me into every single area of my life. And so when I live this championship mode, it's not just about me being excited, but being a champion father, being a champion friend, being a champion speaker, everything I do because, you know, my grandma just passed away last night. And it made me realize something, honestly, and it's okay, she lived a great life. And she always told me this, she said, Trent, no matter what you do, give your all into everything that you do. And I realized that I don't want to waste my life, Dean, I don't. We have so much potential inside of us every single day. Like, every single day is an opportunity, and respect the opportunity every single day. And I know we have bad days, we have ups and downs, but what are you doing every single day? When I leave this earth, these are things that I think about. I don't want to go to that grave with incomplete. I want to make sure I give all of me every single day. So those whys really push me forward and really push me to be in championship mode and help lives every single day.
Dude, is this guy amazing or what?
Let's get to some questions that came in from you great people. Now, again, my team put a name, but every time one question, I would bet to say each of these questions that I'm answering today probably has 50 to 100 similar ones just like it. So Kathy with a C asked, how do you stay authentically positive every moment of the day? Okay. I'm going to go through these and I'm going to anchor stuff in. Almost impossible to stay authentically positive every moment of the day. Okay. That's first thing. So give yourself a break. I want to tell you, I have a company that wasn't virtual. We had 70 plus people in one building. All of a sudden overnight, we're virtual. And I got people all over working from home. We had to create new capabilities and learning through Skype. And we all got Voxer on our phone. And we're all doing Zoom, 1 o'clock today, Zoom with entire team meeting. Well, 70 people on the screen, right? Big shifts, crazy. If you don't think for one moment that some moments I'm like, oh my God, we're not impacting people the way we should. The company's not moving the way it should, or I can't communicate with everybody like I could, or I can't get this video done. I just set this up on my laptop right now to deliver to you. I even put the light up myself and the cameras up myself. Like, the whole point is that happens. Simultaneously, I have a brand new baby who's a week old today. He was born 1 week ago. His immune system isn't developed. Our doctor's like, do not go anywhere. Do not let anybody in your home. Wipe down everything obsessively. If you get something from Amazon, I don't know if my doctor's over exaggerating. I don't know, but I'm not going to take a chance. But if you don't think I worry about when I pick up my son and his face is red, I could get emotional. Think about it. His face is red and he feels a little hot. If I'm thinking, oh my God, did he get something that could hurt him? Right? Sorry. And when that happens, my brain wants to default to, why the hell is this happening? Whose fault is this? When is this going to be over? I want my family to be here. We need help. All those things. I'm not positive every moment of the day. But then I stop and I catch those thoughts. And I realize that this is my terminology. That is my inner villain. That is my wimpy self-conscious trying to protect by focusing on what's wrong. And here's what I know, Kathy, and everybody else that asked a similar question. I've never done anything good in my life when I was in a fearful place. I've never done anything impactful in my life when I wasn't in a positive or whatever aspirational mindset. I've never been in flow. I've never come up with the title of a new book or written a chapter or came up with the ideas of this inner circle training today. I've never had a breakthrough with my team. I never came up with something like KBB. If you're a KBB member, the Knowledge Broker Blueprint course I did with my buddy, Tony Robbins. I laid out that entire thing on a whiteboard over 2 days, obsessively, like a mad scientist, right? 2.5 years ago was something I made up and then we made it real, right? None of that has ever worked. I've never been a good dad. I've never been a good husband or a good team leader. Never been a good side-by-side partner with my high-level staff who help run everything that I do. I've never done any of that good. I'm not trying to, if you feel like I'm being over dramatic, I'm not, because this is such an important question, Kathy. It's why my team put it there and so many people asked, is you can't be positive every minute of the day. But if you live there, if you don't acknowledge it, if you don't do whatever it takes to get out of it and you stay in that place, then what good will come from any of this? You will be drowning in this rather than finding a way to thrive through this. So we all have different ways to get out of a negative mindset. But the first thing is to just acknowledge it. The first thing is to recognize it. What is going on with these thoughts? I'm thinking about all the stuff that can go wrong, that I'm going to lose everything. I'm not going to have a job. I'm not going to ever start the business. It won't work. People won't buy from me. I'm not smart enough. My family's going to, all of those things could happen. But focusing on them just magnifies it to the point where it most likely will happen. So recognize it. And then realize if I stay in this mindset, what's the best outcome? And if I change the mindset and I focus on a compelling future and I gain new technology, I gain new capabilities, I gain new confidence, and I have the courage. This is the muscle that everybody needs to listen to right now. In scary times, it's hard to muster up confidence. What we all must muster up is the courage to continue to move forward. And secondly, take advice, take capabilities from those who've already been there. There's a lot of people online right now telling you how to get rich overnight while you're home. Half of them, or the majority of them I see are they haven't even been in business through a down cycle, right? They got in business in the last 10 years, the greatest economic run in the history of the world. If you're in business in the last 10 years, congratulations. I am not knocking it in any way. I'm not being like the older guy who's bitter. No, I love entrepreneurs. I am the entrepreneur supporter. I will hold you up, get on my back or help. We'll help each other. I love the entrepreneurial journey at any age, any time. But sometimes you see somebody who's never been through it teaching you how to thrive in uncertain times and they're 24 years old. Again, not knocking, but you haven't been through it. You haven't experienced it. So this has been my fourth downturn in the economy, the 80s, 9/11, the Great Recession of 2007. And now here I've navigated, my buddy Tony Robbins has navigated, a lot of my friends have navigated, and we learned how to do it. So what I'm going to share is gain capabilities from somebody who's already been there. You want to learn how to market? Find somebody that knows how to market better than anybody else. You want to learn how to do hair, fly fish, anything. I always say fly fish because I love fly fishing, even though I only go about twice a year. But just learn from somebody who's already been there. Acknowledge that negative thought will get you nowhere. Replace it with a compelling future. And then last piece, I won't go so long on the next question, is when you write down your compelling future, or you write down, all right, here's a challenge for everybody right now. Everyone, right now, raise your hand. I can't see you. Come on. You can see me, but I want you to raise your hand right now. Even if it feels awkward, even if you're like sitting there and people are looking at you, raise your hand. See, I'll do this challenge. The challenge is today, write down the compelling future of who do you want to be? Who do you want to be when this is over? And what do you want to accomplish when this is over? Who do you want to be? Strong leader, role model. And what do you want to do? I want to start the new business. I want to gain new capabilities. I want to finish the course. I want to join the community. I want to be empowered. I want to have my business ready to explode. Who do you want to become? Who do you want to be? All right, Kathy, that one little question sparked a lot, but that may have been one of the most, how do I stay positive during crazy times? That's it. Raise your hand if you were thinking that. Okay, Matt asked, how do I get over my fear of marketing and selling right now? Oh, that's a really good question. We got that one a lot. Here's what I would say. If you are, I've been saying this a lot lately, guys, so if you heard it, sorry. Okay, if you are the only one in your town with hand sanitizer and toilet paper, I don't know, I don't get the toilet paper thing, but never mind. If you are the only one that has it, and you're selling it for $500 each, or you have medical supplies, and you are marking it up 2,000%. That's really shitty, for lack of a better word. That's crappy. That's not cool at all. But if you have the opportunity to serve people in this time, if you are in the information age, the knowledge industry, and you're sharing capabilities like I am right now, listen, I know if you're a part of the inner circle, I get to change your life every single month. My biggest breakthroughs, I've been in business 32 years. Every single month, I get to share breakthroughs that could have taken me 20 years to figure out, or lots of money and failure, or I figured something else that took my business to a whole new level. You might not figure that out in 10 years. You might be struggling to do your own thing, struggling to get the marketing going, struggling to get the momentum, struggling to get the mindset, where I can help you with it in 1 hour while we're live. I don't feel I'm doing a disservice to get people enrolled and be a part of my inner circle. I feel like I'm doing a massive disservice if you're not a part of this, right? Think about my inner circle peeps right now. Do you love being a part of this, right? What has this done for your life month after month? Same with KBB. If somebody wants to be in the knowledge industry and they want to be a part of they want to learn how to do this. If they want to do it on their own, it's going to be horrific and wasted time, or they might learn from somebody who's not qualified. I don't feel bad offering the Knowledge Broker Blueprint course to people because I know it can transform their life. My book, The Underdog Advantage. This book, I wrote this before all this happened. It is the absolute perfect book for today's world, right? I don't feel bad if I'm going to make an offer to help people with that knowledge. Now, if I said this knowledge is so valuable, it used to be worth X, but now I'm charging $200 because you're struggling and you need this more than ever, then I'm a real piece of crap, right? If you're in the real estate world right now, as the economy shifts, if the market shifts, there's going to be a lot of landlords buying houses. If you're supplying landlords with houses during the down market, you're not hurting them. So what I would really encourage, because I see it's on my notes, it's on here, and it's questions we had yesterday. A lot of people are saying, okay, I want to do something online, but I feel bad selling. Listen, people are buying stuff. The world didn't die, and people are buying more now online than ever because everyone's home and everybody's doing things virtually. My KBB group, my Knowledge Broker Blueprint group, I keep talking about them because there's so many of them, so many of you in here right now. I challenged them over the last 2 weeks to just do a Zoom call. They're in the information age. They're in the knowledge industry, right? I said, do a free Zoom call. Whatever your hobby or your passion is, whatever you love to do, if you love to sew, if you love to eat healthy, you love to, be a vegan, you love taking care of kids, you love organizing closets, you love doing hair, you're good at makeup or any other thing in between, you're good at accounting, Excel spreadsheets, e-commerce. If you're good, I'm going to encourage you over the next 2 weeks to help people because people are dying for information. They want real knowledge. No more Netflix, please. What I said is I encourage them to go set up a Zoom call. Tell everybody in your email list, Put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, tell all your friends, doesn't matter if you have 2 followers or 2,000 or 2 million, and set up a Zoom call where you're going to talk about that specific topic. You will be blown away. If one person shows up or 10 or 50, they'll be blown away that you have this knowledge that you could share with them, and people want what you know. That's one industry that's going to, in my opinion, thrive during these uncertain times, right? So my whole point is, I believe selling is bad if you are hurting people. I believe selling is bad if you're selling an inferior product. I believe selling is bad if you are leaning into people's fears and providing them something they don't need. But I think marketing and making an offer right now where you could help people, where you can serve them, where you can deliver capabilities or deliver something they need or something they're going to want anyway, then I believe marketing and selling done right is what's needed. Not is it good or bad, it's what's needed right now. Does that make sense, everybody? And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I'm at home and the way we're doing this, I can't see the chat. Just so you know, if you're a part of Inner Circle, or if you're here as a visitor, every single month I have the chat roll up and I can see all your comments and I can see everything you say. And then I do Q&A at the end. But because we set this up at home and maybe because I didn't upload it right, I don't see your comments. Mike, can you text me? Can people still comment on the main page? Because I'm going to go back and read all of them. I'm hoping that chat's up. If not, we'll have it up next month for sure. So please, if I'm not addressing your comments, I want you to comment because I will go back and read all of them if it's there. So Mike, text me if people can still comment. And if you can't, then we'll have that back up next month. Okay, you ready? Let's go here. Timothy, how should I be preparing for myself for when this pandemic is over? I kind of went deep on Kathy's question, Timothy, but I will share that because that's another one of the most common asked questions. Is preparing yourself is simply this. Let's go back to the challenge. Who do you want to become at the end of this? What do you want to be remembered for? Because here's what I know. This is one of those times in history we're all going to remember. Right? I asked this the other day, but I said, if you're old enough to remember when Princess Diana was killed in a car accident, I know right where I was sitting, right? I remember when 9/11 happened. I know exactly where I was. I remember what shoes I had on. I remember where I was standing. This is one of those moments. You're going to remember everything. You're going to remember everything through, Okay, you guys are awesome. You guys have the chat. Do not stop chatting only because I can't see it. I will go back and read all of it. I love reading your comments. So then right now, let me know if you're up for the challenge. Okay, give me a thumbs up or a heck yes, I'm doing the challenge, the last thing, right? And that is, who will you become and what are you going to achieve when this is over? But going back to Timothy about the pandemic, it's really just that, Timothy. It's like you get to decide who you're going to be when this is over. And here's what I know is if we're going to remember this moment for the rest of our life, who do you want to remember yourself as? Did I say that right? Who do you want to be remembered as? Do you want to be the person that just sat around waiting for someone else to fix it? The government, the president, $2.2 trillion bailout. How many of us are actually going to get that money? I don't know. Maybe I hope a lot of you, deservingly so. I hope you do, but I'm not counting on it. I hope you're not counting on it. I hope we're doing things that we're being proactive, right? We're going after what we want. So how do you prepare? You prepare by working on you. You prepare by investigating, right? Find industries that'll thrive. Again, I believe just in my past history, the knowledge industry, sharing what you know in here, you're going to thrive, but you got to do it. You can't dabble. So that's what I'd say there. Stephen, how do I avoid looking selfish and disrespectful when I'm commercially marketing and selling my products? Okay, that was a redundant question. Sorry, that fell underneath the other one. Same thing. Selfish would be selling something without addressing. So let me go deeper on it. So you know what? My team doesn't do anything by mistake. They put it twice. That means there was probably 200 of those messages. Here's what I would tell you. I'm just looking at comments from my team to make sure everything's working okay. This is the first time we've done it this way. Here's what I want to share. Make sure your messaging reflects what's going on, right? The worst thing you could do is if you had an aspirational message about selling your product, your service, your course, your Zoom training, your mastermind, your virtual workshop, your book, your course, your training, and whatever it is you're selling. If you had a message from 30 or 40 days ago, if you ran that same message now, it could seem insensitive, right? It's like, hey, get my book, The Underdog Advantage, so you can take what you do, go to the next level, do this, da, 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 da. If I didn't mention that we're in a crisis, that a pandemic is here, that people are scared and they're struggling, if I wasn't transparent with that, it could seem really crappy. It could seem like I don't give a poop about anyone. So what I would say is talk to people as you'd like to be talked to. Talk to people like you're talking to friends and family. If you have something that can serve them, address what the elephant in the room, which is this virus that's scaring everyone. And if it leans into helping them, then make sure you share it. Listen, and I'm going to go back and look at all these, okay? Let me just ask you this. Give me a heck yes if you love when someone just says it like it is in today's world. Don't you just want the truth? Don't give me the BS. Don't tell me all the hype. Just tell me like it is, right? Don't you just love that? Don't you just love when you see somebody just like, hey, this is real. This is how it is. This is what I have. I think the world needs more real now more than ever. Like I said, when it comes to something like Inner Circle, so many of you are part of Inner Circle. You know what this is all about. Every month, a reminder service or learning new capabilities on how to stay in the game, how to have competitive edges, not hurting other people, but have unfair advantages, meaning, again, not unfair like you're cheating, unfair meaning learning from someone who's already been there, right? This is something I know transforms your life. I love this community. I love this family. Listen, my team's been telling me for years, we got all these other things. I haven't dropped this because I love the connection of who we have. I love the group that comes together. I love all the comments. If you love Inner Circle, you love being a part of community, let our guests know what it's like to feel a part of something bigger than yourself and you're not out here alone and you're learning capabilities, right? I love Inner Circle. So when I talk about it, I don't have to be inauthentic. Is that a right word? Inauthentic? No, inauthentic. I don't have to be honest. I could just talk about what I know it does for people. I could talk about in times like these, you got to be a part of something bigger than yourself, be a part of a community. But if I was just like, hey, you want to learn to get rich overnight? Then be a part, like, that was kind of cheesy. That was really bad. I was trying for some kind of imitation, but didn't go well. But you know what I'm saying? So just change your messaging, Timothy, and address people's hearts. Do it out of caring and know that people are still buying. We didn't die. People still need things. In fact, online purchases are probably through the roof right now because everyone's home. Okay. Let's see. Daniel, where do you see the best opportunities for success right now? Okay. Daniel, great question. Again, I don't want to seem like I don't care. Obviously, you guys know that. If you follow me, you know that that's not the case. But here's what I would say. Let me just, because I can say, be a part of the knowledge industry. That's my world. It's Tony's world. It's what we share with the world, share with everyone. Be a part of the knowledge industry. Start thinking about, where you can deliver value from what's in here. People are paying for knowledge like never before in life. That industry is going to boom, especially virtually sharing your knowledge. That's it. But there's going to be other areas. So I would do the research. So instead of just talking about the actual thing you do, I want to talk about what I believe is the number one thing you could do. The best opportunity is obsessively work on your mindset. Obsessively work on your mindset because most people aren't. Most people are scrambling, and I get it. Scrambling sounds bad. We're all scrambling, right? Some people worse than others. Some people's revenue, income has been shut off. I get it. But if you don't work on your mindset, we could fall into some really dark places. And you're going to miss other opportunities. You're going to be looking for the magical thing to fix you, and none of that's usually true. We need an unstoppable mindset in our soul. That if we can build that mindset to be bulletproof, then whatever you plug in, information age, knowledge industry, selling e-commerce, whatever it is you decide to do, you will far surpass anyone with greater capabilities. Because if you have mindset plus capabilities, you'll go right by them. And again, not saying you're leaving people behind, but you don't want to be left behind, and you want to have the strength to keep going. So I think it's truly important that if you want the unfair advantage, you want to know what opportunities right now, first work on you. First, work on your mindset. And that's why being in a group and being here right now is so amazing today. Okay. Dranca, D-R-A-N-C-A. How do I put myself to work and stop procrastinating? Okay. That is like a two-tiered question, two-tiered answer. That's better. It's one question, two-tiered answer. First answer, I already kind of covered with the challenge. Create your compelling future of who you want to become and what do you want to achieve when this is over. I'm going to add something to that, okay? I want you to add to that, who would you be if you don't do anything? Who will you be if you waste this time? Who will you be if you just binge out on the news and Netflix and don't accomplish anything and either sit in fear or sit in like, we'll see what happens, or wait for someone else to do it for us? Who would that, what version of you would that look like, Dranca, in 90, 120 days if you don't do anything? Yeah, I would bet to say that it feels pretty crappy, right? Even though we're scared. But then, okay, so now that's the foundation, right? Boom, lock in. I don't want to be that person that wasted this time. I want to be the person that became a better person, a better version of myself. Okay, great. But now let's get now let's get to some more tactical side of that. I would make a list every day. Now that I'm working from home, I got my little Tuesday list right here in my journal. Now that I'm working from home, is I write down every morning what I need to accomplish that day. Not what I want to, not just what I want to, not 6,000 things. I write down the top 4 to 6 things that I must accomplish that day. Now, if you want to really hack this, I would write down what you must accomplish that day to move the needle in your life, right? Because there's a lot of busy work we can all do. And we got a lot of busy work. Believe me, my wife and I are here by ourselves. We have zero help. You want to talk about busy work? I was scrambling before I got on this, helping my wife. I made a breakfast for my kids, got them doing their homework, my older children. I got everything Lisa I can help her with because she's doing this all on her own right now. She's breastfeeding every 2.5 hours. Like, it's crazy. I forgot, completely forgot. I had newborn amnesia because my youngest is 11. And completely forgot. And it's doing the burp cloths and swaddles and cleaning this and throw up and running a company and doing videos and trying to serve and going live and doing Zoom meetings every other hour and in the middle of writing and it's insanity. So I get it. So that means I must, with all the distractions, I must write down what I need to accomplish that day. And then I write down how I'm going to feel, or what is the end result, or how does that move the needle in my life? And when I look at that, I must get those done. Dranca, I must get those done and not procrastinate, because I will feel bad about me at the end of the day if I don't. Now, is there busy work in between? Of course. But don't get consumed by the busy work. Don't lie to yourself. Everyone right here, come on, look in my eyes. Stop lying to yourself. We all do. I'm not calling you out without calling myself out. I lie to myself. I BS. I'm like, well, I was busy. I had to do this and then do that and do that. All it was my subconscious doing busy work. So I didn't have to dig into the hard work that actually moves the needle and can take me to a place of solution, resolution, and next level. So really identify, what the heck are you doing that's busy work? And what are you doing that can actually move the needle to make you a better version of you, to create new revenue, to get the company going, to anchor in new success habits that actually shift your thinking so you can focus on what's right. How do you become the role model? How do you become the leader? That's how you get your butt off the couch. That's how you stop procrastinating. Okay. How do I establish? Okay, let's see. How do I balance taking care of people and working on my goals? Leona, how do I balance taking care of people and working on my goals? I think I kind of just shared that. Okay. I'm going to just get real raw and raw with you guys right now. I kind of get energized on doing more than other people can. If you're here, you're part of KBB, you're part of Inner Circle, you clicked on a link and you're still with us here 40 minutes in, I'd bet to say you got a little bit of that yourself. I like being able to juggle and get more done than anybody else. I like not to complain when everybody else does. I like being underestimated. I'm giving you kind of a peek into my world. I like when people don't see me coming. I like when people tell me I can't. I mean, I wrote the book, The Underdog Advantage. I love being an underdog. I like it when people don't see me coming. So you're like, what the hell does that have to do with balancing people and your own goals? I want to get it all done. I want to be so effective. I want to be so energized. I want enthusiasm when no one else has it. I don't want to listen to the BS that everybody spews out of their mouth. And I just want to do it. So I'm going to give you an example again. This is not, oh, look at Dean, I'm so amazing. No, I screw up all the time. I screwed up with my son last night. This morning at 5:30, 6 o'clock, I wrote my son a letter because last night I jumped on his butt pretty hard over something and it wasn't that big a deal, right? So I screw up. But let me just tell you, this morning, I got up this morning. As soon as I got up, I helped my wife all night. You know, life is crazy. When we got 2 hours and 10 minutes sleep, the longest we've gotten since our son was born, and we were high-fiving at 1 a.m. that we slept 2 hours and 20 minutes or whatever it was. We're like, oh my God, that was the longest sleep. I feel amazing. Yeah, that's my life right now. But I got up this morning and I have some stuff that I'm working on, a couple things that are just like a pain in the butt. That's just being in business. So I had to deal with so as soon as I woke up, I jumped on my computer and said, let me get the crappy stuff out of the way. I worked on that for about 15, 20 minutes. No, about an hour. And then I made my son breakfast and I brought it up to him in his room and I gave him the letter and I gave him a hug and I said, okay, buddy, jump in the shower. He's like, can I ride my bike a little? I'm like, yeah, ride your bike in the driveway and then get to your homework. He's doing school. So he's like, can you help me with these things? I ran inside, I helped him with 2 homework things, showed him what to do. He set up on his computer. He did that. I went over to the gym. Really crappy workout, but I got about 35, 40-minute quick workout in. Then I got a call from my team. I went inside and did that. Simultaneously, I ran in. I got everything ready for my wife. I made her breakfast. I made her oatmeal that she likes because she deserves it. I set everything up for her. Then I got done. My daughter was sleeping in a little bit. She had to be up before school started at 9. So I went and woke my daughter up. I said, hey, babe, I'm going to make you breakfast. I'll make you a shake. I'll put it downstairs. I made her a shake. I came back in here. I set up this light. I called my team and said, hey, we've never done this with Skype before. How do we do it? Let's check the connection. I checked the connection. I set everything up. I got myself some water. I got my journals. I got the light. I closed everything. I told my kids I'm going to be quiet. I told them, okay, I'm just rambling. But in between that, there was 100 other little things. And how do I work on other people? I want to set an example. I want to be a role model. I want to do all that. And then this afternoon, I want to go for a bike ride with my kids. And I want to talk about real stuff. And I want to be a great dad. And I want my wife to be like, damn, he's the most supportive husband on the planet. I have a newborn and this guy just protects me and takes care of me. I want my team at my office to be like, holy crap, there's a lot of people losing their jobs and Dean's not doing that. We're figuring out a way to thrive in these uncertain times. I want to be that leader for them. I want to be that leader for my kids. I want to be that leader for my newborn and my wife. I want to be that leader when I checked in with my mom and dad last couple of days and asked them if they were okay. In fact, my sister and I just put a deposit today on a house for my mom. She's getting older. We're buying a house right next to my sister in Virginia. I want to be able to do that. And I work my ass off to make that stuff real because my mom had nothing her whole life. She worked worked 3 jobs to make $90 a week when I was a kid. I never saw her. She worked her tail off. I wanted to take care of her my whole life. And I'm able to do that because of what I'm doing. I made that decision this morning in a text that came through. We made massive decisions. I want to be that leader, like I said, for my team. And I want to be that leader for you. I don't want to come on here and not have true capabilities, not come in here and just BS and talk. If you're a part of Inner Circle, let me know with a thumbs up. Do I deliver real capabilities that are actionable every single month that you could put into play, not just hear myself talk? So I think through. So I journal for hours. I got my journals all around here. I journal for hours and come up with the exact thing I want to share with you each month. It's not just, oh, I'm live. Let me just throw that on. Okay. So I just went on a rant. Oh, how great is Dean? I'm not saying how great. You guys got as much crap going on as I do. But if you go back over these questions, it's like, how do you stop procrastinating? I want to do the stuff that moves the needle. Even in my family, what I did for my wife today, I know she loves me a little more. What I did for my kids today, I know they love me a little more. What I'm doing for you today, I want you to, I love you a little. I want you to be like, holy crap, Dean delivers real value for me when I need it. He's here for me. I'm having a 1 o'clock meeting with my entire team. I want them to know I care, that I'm here working. So when you ask me a simple question of like, how do you balance it all? Is you got to go up to what Danielle asked, and anchor in a mindset that is unstoppable, an underdog mindset, have success habits, be the leader, be the role model, be energized by getting shit done, be energized by solving problems, be energized by giving to other people. You know, one of the things Tony Robbins said to me changed my life at one of his events. We were dear friends already, and I came to the event, and one thing he said is, you know what most people do wrong? They feel love when they get love. How cool would it be in life if you felt love when you gave love? It's like, oh my God. Why isn't that taught anywhere? Now, is that something that happens as soon as you hear it? No. But how cool is it to feel love when you give love? How cool is it to feel successful when you help others be successful? How cool is it to feel energy when you energize other people? How cool is it to feel like your time management is spot on when you help solve problems for the people you love? Just shift this. This is where it all lives, guys. This is where it all lives.
In your life, has anybody ever told you you can't, and how do you flip that around? That's the first one. Now, these are brand new. I've been thinking through this this underdog advantage process a lot lately. I'm teaching it, talking it into life. This helps me as much as it helps you, because it'll help me go deeper on new books, go deeper on my training, because that's my life. This is my life now. My life is to go out there, forge new paths, figure out what works, come back and share it with you and my high-level mastermind group. So I'm so happy to have you guys here. Remember, if you have a question, put the Q in, and Patrick will write down as many as he can. Of course, I won't get to all of them, but I'll get as many as I can. Okay, number 2 of the unfair advantages. Number 2 is they never see you coming. You're always underestimated. Here's what I've come to love. Ready for this? I know there's some great people, some great business people that tell you, and I'm not saying it's wrong. Believe me, but I'm telling you, this is me. And I don't want to talk too much about me, but it's the only way I can lead through example. At this phase of my life, I love being underestimated more than anything. I don't know if you guys have known the last couple of years, all I wear is t-shirts. By the way, this isn't one t-shirt. I have like 20 of these. And I have like 5 colors and 20 of these shirts. I feel blessed. I had a partner that we did really great business together, real estate and a whole bunch of other stuff, and he was a watch person. And he brought me some of the most amazing watches on the planet. Watches, I mean, I had a watch on yesterday, it was almost $50,000 or $42,000, something crazy. I would never spend that for a watch, even if I had $17 gazillion. But I had on yesterday, it was the first time I had a watch on in almost 2 years. I'm in this place in my life where I want to be underestimated. It makes life easier because it empowers me. I found a way. I know some people teach, perfect suit, dress sharp, pointy shoes, shiny. I own all that stuff. And maybe in 6 months from now, a year, I'll go through that phase. But where I'm at right now is I like to be underestimated because they never see me coming. I've had big multi-million-dollar companies with board of directors and CEOs look at I run my companies, I own my companies, I have about 13 companies, I run them, and I know for a fact some of them are like, they won't get to us because we're a big conglomerate, and I love that. And they never see me coming, and I drive right past them like I have nitrous, and they're dragging concrete blocks behind their car. I love that. But let me give you an example. I want to give you this, and I want to give you as many examples as I can today, because I want you to frame this in your whole life. Like, I want you to think about, well, they don't think I can do it. Instead of, they don't think I can. I'm nervous about saying what's on my mind. I'm nervous about asking the partnership. No! If they don't think you can, use that as fuel. I love when people look at me like, who's this guy? Does he know? Like, again, framework. Flip the framework. So, example, conference room. Now, I could share an exact scenario here. I wrote down conference room story that I want to share with you. But let's just think about this. In every single negotiation I go into, everything. You know what I love more than anything? I love when everybody's dressed in suits and dressed sharp. And I love people who dress nice. I love to dress nice when I go out. But if I'm going into a really important meeting, the more important the meeting, I just closed a $14 million deal, 6 months ago. And I wore this t-shirt, not this exact one, but one just like it, a pair of jeans and some Nikes. Literally at the deal, on purpose. But I want to tell you, so here's what I like. I want you to visualize a conference room. I close a lot of deals at this phase of my life, a lot of partnerships. I'm buying into a couple companies right now, and I love negotiating. I love to make it a win-win for everybody. Never looking to take advantage of anybody, ever. But here's what I know. I love going in, and everybody's dressed to the nines, couple attorneys, right? Couple CEO, everybody's dressed nice. I like walking in like this, because I know at first they're like, you get the memo, this is when you're supposed to dress up. And then secondly, I like the fact that I don't wear a watch. That helps me in my loving being underestimated. And then third, I never talk when I first go in. I introduce myself and I sit. And and especially, listen, I'm a dude, I'm a guy. I love I have testosterone. I'm a driver. I'm enthusiastic. I love closing deals. I love winning as long as it's a win for everybody. But what I've come to realize is most men especially, want to come in and just vomit up everything they're all about and what they want. Hey, listen, this deal, I want to tell you, I'm going to go first. We've been doing this for 14 years. We've compiled this together, and this is what I want. This is what we could do. We could take the numbers to do. And I just sit and listen. And just sit and listen. And I even get to the point where it's uncomfortable, especially if someone's trying to sell me or I want to buy from them. If I get to the point where I don't ask many questions or don't talk, I can feel they're underestimating me. Like in their head, they're doing one of two things. They're like, everybody said this guy was smart. He shows up in a t-shirt and he hasn't said 2 words. But what happens is that uncomfortableness or that underestimating you, what happens is people just continue to talk. And here's what I know, a couple strategic questions like, so I don't understand, if we did this deal, what would that look like in a year from now? That's like, maybe I say that 15 minutes in, and if this was a complete win and we were celebrating a year from now, what do you think that would look like? Like the silly questions, like the old Columbo questions. You ever watch that old show Columbo on TV? My whole point is, what'll happen is, because they underestimate me, because they're uncomfortable because I haven't said much, or maybe they think I'm an idiot, they start to talk about the things that I'm using as my fuel. They start telling you what their desires are, what their fears are. People will get to, if I don't close this, I'm not going to get the promotion. If we don't close this deal, we really don't have the cash flow to get to the next level. If I don't close this deal, and people just talk and talk and talk. And then I come in at the end, and being underestimated all of a sudden flips when I close the deal in about 5 minutes. When I go, because I accumulate all this, I know your fears, I know your worries, I know your desires, I know your dreams, and the cool part is I don't use it unfairly. I want to make fair deals for everybody, but if someone else is being unfair and I need to get them where they are, I will win every time because I walked in and I was underestimated, and I listened, and I listened, and I accumulated, and when I regurgitate it back, it's a win. I want you to think about that. Where are you underestimated? Where do they not see you coming? Where could you jump in a company, jump in a business, ramp up your real estate, do things? Don't feel like, here's the thing. I hate when people say what they're going to do. I love when they just show me. Be that person that just shows people. Have that, I love the word quiet confidence. Like, you don't have to wear if you love it, that's great, but you don't have to wear the Rolex and drive the Rolls Royce to be successful. Success could mean anything you want. You got $2 million in the bank, or whatever that number is, or you get to retire your wife, or help your parents out, or be with your kids more. That's success. Let that fuel this. Again, why am I going so deep on this? Because especially in the last year of being around so many people around the world, I know we all feel like an underdog, and I did my whole life. And now I look back and I thank God I was the underdog. I do. I thank God that things didn't go my way because I had to find new ways. I had to transform those feelings that were anchors into gasoline. Do you feel this? Do you see the shift? Do you see how you could change the framework? Let me know if you're liking this stuff. What's up, Liberio, Deborah, Wallace, Ken, Irene, Sally, Francis, everybody, Deborah. Good to have you guys here. Okay, number 3. Innovation is a must. Underdog advantage number 3, innovation. Think about that. You see, I don't know how to start a company that's not making money and raise a whole bunch of capital and use other people's money to see if you make it work. Now, I'm not knocking that at all. It's because I'm limited on my knowledge on that. That's it. I'm just not smart enough to know how to do it. And I have so many friends that are in Silicon Valley, and everybody's fighting to come up with the next thing, the next widget, the next app, the next Facebook, the next Instagram. They're fighting for that. And a lot of these companies will go raise 20, 30, 50 million. Some of them raise 400 million before they've made $1, before they've made a penny. And then I look at, now, again, I'm not knocking this. I don't want to seem like I'm bitter. I have so many successful friends that their families were successful, and they just carried it on. That's what I want with my kids. I don't want to have to make my kids suffer. I want to teach them the right values so they take on what I've done and start off where I left off, right? But just think about if everything went smooth. You weren't an underdog. Nothing went wrong in your childhood. Perfect parents, perfect income, perfect location. Then you went to the perfect college. And then when you got out of the perfect college, you had the money to start a company. I've watched this happen. Sometimes when you have money to start a company, you're setting yourself up for failure because you don't need it to cash flow. So I'm going to use this one example, this one thought process is every company I've ever started. I sold firewood in high school, fixed wreck cars out of high school, fixed wreck cars for business, fixed wreck cars to sell, and then I started buying rundown houses and remodeling them and putting apartments in them, and then I started subdividing land and building houses, and then I went in the education business, and then the book business, and the live event business, and then, sharing now in masterminds and trainings like this, right? As I went through all those companies, never once in any of them did anyone ever give me money to start. So guess what I had to be? Unfair advantage number 3. I had to be innovative. I had to create cash flow, profitable companies. So now what you could say is, oh man, I have nobody in my family that's got money. I have nobody that's got faith in me to lend me money. I can't get any money from the bank. Damn it, I can't go in business. Or you can say, I have no money. Banks won't give me money. I have no friends that'll lend it to me, no partners. I gotta be innovative. I gotta find ways to cash flow right away. My company's cash flow 2 weeks, 3 weeks into the company, because I have to. That's how I grow everything. But that started because I was a broke kid with nothing. Now I know no other way. I'm gonna launch 2 new companies you'll see over the next 6 months, gonna blow your mind. One partner with a great dude in the fitness world, and something else that I gotta wait and tell you when it's done. But both of those companies, I could fund both of them with millions of dollars, just being honest. I'm not. I'm using the same model, that same innovativeness, that's the word, being innovative, coming up with unique ways to say, no, I'm not one of those guys that's gonna run a company for 5 years and get a great evaluation and hope this, I don't know how to do that. I was an underdog with nothing, and I had to use that to my advantage, and that advantage turned it into, I had to find a way to be innovative, I keep using that word, to be cash flow right away or I would be broke. So now, take that underdog disadvantage and make it your underdog advantage. You don't have money, and if you don't think you can make something work without using money, then Google people that have. Google Richard Branson, Tony Robbins, me, so many successful people started with nothing. I know you might be facing stuff that I don't even know about. I get that. But here's what I know. Did you ever have a headache and you go online and you Google for what could this headache be? And by the time you're done, you feel like you got a tumor and you got 3 months to live, right? We find what we were looking for. If you went online with the headache and wanted to search for someone that said, you just didn't have enough water, drink a glass, you'll be fine, you could find that in 2 minutes. But our brains want to go towards the tumor and what could be worst case scenario. So we do that in our own lives. Like, I don't have any money. Look, my friend tried with no money, it didn't work. You're just searching for what went wrong. Your subconscious is looking for security so you can feel safe about your inaction. Get disturbed, get uncomfortable. Go online and Google and find successful people who started with nothing, that had massive fear, that were scared. And all of a sudden you'll see all these people, all these millionaires, all these great, hugely successful people that started with nothing. And all of a sudden you start building momentum, and then you say, I'm gonna create innovation here. I'm gonna create cash flow. We're talking about business, but could that be the same in every area of your life? Of course it can. So think of the unfair advantage we have of being an underdog because we get to be creative. That was number 3. Okay, number 4. Unfair underdog advantage number 4. Enthusiasm over perfection. I want you to think about that. Enthusiasm over perfection. Now, I told you before about the books, but I'll tell you in life, I don't have a vast vocabulary, and I can't spell for crap. I spell so bad that literally when I type, there's so many words lit up, it's like every third word is lit up. And sometimes the words, I try to respell them like 4 times, and if the computer could talk, it'd be like, yo, bro, I don't know what you're doing, try something else. Or you're an idiot. I don't know, I'm glad it can't talk to me, and I'll just come up with a simpler word. I don't have a vast vocabulary. I'm not the smartest guy in the room when it comes to book smart. I don't watch the news. I have no idea what's going on around the world. I don't. Clueless. People come up and like, well, you know what happened with Trump, or you know what happened in South America, or you know what? I'm like, I don't. I haven't watched the news in probably over 10 years. All it does is bring me down. I protect my confidence, so I don't watch the news. I didn't have a lot of experience in these new companies. When somebody says you're going to write a book or you're going to go on stage, hey, people say to me, I'm going to go on stage, and somebody say, did you take journalism in school? Did you go to college for that? Like, did you train under a mentor? No experience. And most of the times, like I said on the last one, I had no money. So here's what I know. Sometimes when you have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, you're obsessing on perfection. You're obsessing on the details. You're overanalyzing so much that it's causing you to be paralyzed and do nothing. Being an underdog, you're starting to wear this as a badge of honor, right? Did you feel that? I don't know if you did. The way I said it, I felt it internally. Like, I want someone to go, I want to have a shirt that says, I'm an underdog, right? Where I overcame things going where I didn't have the money or the vocabulary, or I didn't have the super smarts or the money or the experience, I masked with enthusiasm. And if you look at underdog stories from the movies, right, from the horse races and the Olympics and the games that shouldn't have been won, when you take I don't know, what was it? What was in the 90s when the American hockey team won? I don't know if you guys know. I'm asking my team. What's that? Yeah. Google it real quick. Anyway, before they let American athletes that were professionals play in the Olympics, you might know this story, you probably know it better than me, you guys can tell me, it was just college kids. And at the last minute, they just round up these college kids to play against the world's best hockey players in the world, and America won. Biggest underdog upset. But one thing I noticed, what did they have? They were enthusiastic as shit, for lack of a better word. I remember watching the Russian team, like, just no enthusiasm, just like, I'm not going to try to talk with a Russian accent. I almost did, but I'm not even going to try. But I remember, like, they were just like, these guys, they're not going to have any chance with us. No enthusiasm, just thinking they were going to do it. And then all of a sudden, the enthusiasm, to me, helped carry that team to win the Olympics. It was the biggest upset ever. But think of basketball games, think of horse races, Olympics. In your own life, when you were the underdog, what carried me wasn't the book smart, wasn't the money, wasn't the experience, wasn't the vocabulary, surely wasn't the connections. I knew no one with money when I was a kid. You know what carried me? Enthusiasm. I just found a way to turn this. I could be the underdog with the anchor, carrying it, dragging it across the desert, or I could say, I'm a freaking underdog. They are never going to see me coming. They told me they can't. Watch what I do. Oh, I don't have money? I'll just get innovative. I'll find a way to get the money. I'll get the money. And that led to this enthusiasm that drove me. I mean, think about this. I hope you follow me because I share incredible wisdom, knowledge, and capabilities. But if I shared the same exact thing every month, when you showed up here live or you're watching this as a replay, if I said, today, we're going to talk about the underdog advantage, on how you can use the things that people think hurt you and use them in a way to position yourself for wealth and abundance. I'd like to start with number 1. You guys would be done with me in 5 minutes. 5 minutes, you would be done, out. I don't care how good the wisdom was. It's because I hope that you see this is authentic enthusiasm, but if I really boil it back down, it came out because I was an underdog. I didn't have all the other stuff. So I had to go to the thing that boosted my confidence and got results, and that was having enthusiasm. Hey, Patrick, start getting those questions together here. And in about 5 minutes, I'll have you come up and share those with me. And if I see a lot coming in, so maybe you could pick what you believe are the top 5 that would really help, and we'll start there. 1981, that's when, wow, 1981, it was that long ago? Yeah. I'd love to say I wasn't born, but I was probably in 8th grade. Damn it. Yeah, so I remember seeing that. Okay, number 5. Now I'm gonna create a lot more underdog advantages. I've been thinking through these, as you could tell, but I wanna make it 10 total, but today we're gonna cover 5. And here's one that you might not think is an underdog advantage, is transform heartbreak into your leverage. So as an underdog, your parents or your friends may not have faith in you or support you. And that's heartbreaking. Did you ever have just like you watched me one day, you read my book or somebody else, or you saw something online, or you got involved in my real estate course, and you're like, damn, I'm doing this, and you're using the power of you don't even know you are. You're being innovative, you're enthusiastic, and you go tell the person you care about the most, and they shut you down like a lid, just like shutting off the light switch, like, oh, that's so dumb. This is the wrong time. You don't have the money, and they shut you down. That's heartbreaking. Also, I've watched so many people, when they have a desire for more, you're growing. Okay, so I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me at has ever happened in your life. If you're watching me, you're someone who's working on your personal growth. You're working on your success. You want another level of life. You realize one of the biggest plights of our world is living knowing you have untapped potential. It's the worst feeling in the world. You know you got more gas in the tank, but you're not putting the throttle down because people are telling you and you can't. I just told my daughter, I stole this from Sean Stevenson, the 3-foot giant, my dear friend. He said, don't ever let anyone dim your glow so you can match them. You're bright. People are like, nah. And a lot of times we turn down our light so we can match that. Screw that. Brighten yours up more. But it's heartbreaking because here's what I want to ask, and you guys can be honest with me. Have you ever been in a relationship? Could be family, friends, partnership, or significant other. You're in a relationship. You, because you're here, there's a million other things you could be doing, you're here with me. You're working on your personal growth. You are. Your success, abundance. You want to tap into that next level, not leave it. Don't die at 98 years old and go, wow, I had a lot more to give the world, but I didn't. Oh my God, did you feel that? Screw that. I want to be like, nothing left. I'm done. Time to go. Nothing left. But think about this. You're working on your personal growth. You start with somebody here. They are at this level, but they decide this is a perfect level for them. And all of a sudden, you're continuing to work on your personal growth, and you're going higher. And you're going higher. And now they're saying, oh, stop, you're getting all foo-foo. Oh my God, what are you going to go to a Tony Robbins event and jump up and down? You're going to go to a Dean Graziosi growth event and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden you're going and all going, and you get to a point and they're like, oh my God, we've grown apart. And somebody leaves you, or someone calls you, tells you that you're a dreamer or you're no good. I've watched it happen so many times with people who desire another level of life because the people around you want to stay status quo and you make them uncomfortable. So heartbreak is pretty high in this world of growing, of going next level. And that's okay, because that's the way it's supposed to be. I believe God, the universe, whatever, designed it that way because they're meant to be with these people and you're meant to be with us. It doesn't mean you have to hurt anybody along the way, but there's a lot of heartache. There's a lot of heartbreak. So what I noticed with underdogs who spin it into a win is they take that heartbreak from any area, from parents, from a relationship, from a marriage to a bad partnership. They take that heartbreak and they ball it back up, poof, and use it as energy. So they transform heartbreak into leverage, heartbreak into energy, heartbreak into success. Now, maybe I'm completely off. Maybe no one on here has ever had any heartbreak and I'm totally off. No one in here has ever felt like they were growing and the person alongside them was staying still and it felt uncomfortable. If that's the case, I'm sorry, I'm completely wrong. But I bet to say it's over 75% of the people that are watching me right now. Maybe even more. Let me know what you think. Patrick, let me have some of those. We're going to get to some questions here. I got some more stuff I want to share. And then I want you to think about how being the underdog can make you innovative. I wanted to go a little deeper, so I have some notes here that I want to get you on innovation and exponential growth because, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Okay, cool. I want you, this is just really powerful because I have a dear friend here in Phoenix, Arizona named John Langbine. And John is super successful, great guy, love him, amazing dad. He's probably one of the, I have friends that I've had forever, but out here in Phoenix, he's like my dearest friend here in Phoenix, outside my work relationship. Got great working relationships, but friends. So John's got a great company. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. He was the underdog. John grew up in a family, I think, of 6 or 7, and he was somewhere in the middle. They lived in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house and had no money. And the car, like literally some people would get left home because they had one car, and he said he'd go out and sit in the car like in the winter with a snowmobile suit on like an hour before so he could get in because he'd make sure he'd make it if they were going to the mall or going to the movies. Like last kids that didn't make the car didn't go to the movies or go to the mall on their once a quarter trip to the movies. Everything that you could imagine on John was set up for him to fail. Now all his siblings, great people, but they all worked for like the post office in this little town where he grew up or for the county, and none of them ever did anything more than what maybe their parents did. And again, that has no disrespect, but why John break out? Why does John have a company that does over $100 million? And why is John successful? Because he found a way to turn being an underdog to his advantage. He got through school the best he could and got down to ASU when he was older, paying his own way through ASU. And he takes a trip to New York one day. And I just want to tell you how underdogs can think and how you can create exponential growth compared to the people along the way that don't. I know this, maybe it doesn't tie in, but I thought this is a really inspirational story, and I thought you could get a lot of value out of it. So John goes to New York City, and he sees that they're selling these fake Rolexes on the street for like $75. He's like, oh my God, they're amazing. He buys like 10 of them. He's in Arizona State University, and here in Phoenix, Arizona. He goes back, and he sells all of them for like $150, just like that. So now he realizes he didn't have money. He's the underdog, but he did everything here. The power of you can't. He went and talked to his best friend. He goes, oh, that won't work. And you need money to make money. Everybody told him they couldn't. People never saw him coming because he saw where he come from, didn't have money. He was working his ass off to pay for his way, working every day to pay for his way through school. How's he going to start this business? He had to be innovative because he didn't have the money to go buy a lot of watches. But he found a way to be enthusiastic over it and, of course, transform heartbreak because his family told him he should never even go to college, that he's just wasting his money. So he transformed all that. He goes upstream and he finds the guy that's buying, he didn't have money to buy a lot of watches, but he went to the guy, he went back to New York where he bought these, imitation Chinese Rolexes, and people knew they were fake. They weren't trying to be imitation, they were fake Rolexes. They knew it. You buy it for $75, not $5,000. So he goes to the guy and says, listen, I don't have money to buy a lot, but if I gave you a $100 bill right now, would you tell me who you buy these from? Think of the innovation. He didn't have the money, but he wanted to find the supplier. So now he finds the person this guy's buying from, and the guy that's selling them for $75, he was buying them for $25. He goes to this guy and says, listen, I got to be honest with you. I think I can move 10 of these a day, but I don't have the money. Could you front me just 10? I'll give you the money back, and then as I go, just keep exponentially growing the inventory you want. That guy said yes. He starts in business now. He's innovative because he's got money coming in, and he's growing this crazy business in school of selling pretend Rolexes, and all of a sudden he sees the opportunity of being innovative on another level. They never saw him coming. He goes to a frat house and says, guys, how would you like to all make money selling these Rolexes? Now he's paying $25 or $50 at the time. He takes all of his profit and he goes to the next guy and says, hey, I'm buying you, you're the distributor. How can I give you $1,000 and you just give me the name of the person who makes these watches in China? He went all the way upstream and then got them for like $12. Now he could give the difference and a $50 commission to people selling underneath him. There was a point where he was selling thousands of these Rolexes a week. Now, John went on, that was just a temporary business. He stopped doing that. He went on to doing the same kind of transactions with tickets, and now he's one of the largest ticket providers in the world for high-end tickets. You want to go to the Super Bowl, you want to go to World Series, you want to go to the World Cup, anything you want to do that's a big event in the sports world, he owns the high-level tickets. He's an incredible guy. But his story just reminds me of he was the underdog, and so were all his siblings. And all of his siblings let being an underdog keep them stuck, where he found a way to use these 5 and other ones that we'll be recognizing as his fuel, and to never give up. And that's a little inspiration. I know that story maybe didn't match perfectly, but I want to inspire you because he's just a regular guy. I love the guy, and look where he is now. No reason you can't be there. Okay, let's get to some questions. You guys doing okay? Let me know if you like today. Let me know if you guys like the underdog advantage. Okay, question 1 from Christopher Brown. How do you overcome lack of resources to be able to pay for speed? Okay, here's the cool part. Think of, I don't know where you are, Christopher, but I don't know anything that can exponentially grow what you want to do than modeling or learning from those playing the game at the highest level possible. So what happens is, I don't think we're taught that the value of wisdom. I mean, what I shared today, really think about it. I share the same exact strategies with my group who pay me $8,300 a month to be in my group, my 100K group. Same strategies to people who pay me $2,300 a month in my $25,000 a year mastermind. Because these are the strategies that work. There's no magic money machine. There's no, open up this box and this is the gift to be a millionaire. This is the secret. There is none. It's all these little steps. It's all these foundational things that lead up to success. So with that, I don't know if you or anyone, you or most people, not the people on this watching right now, place the value on wisdom that you really should. So with that is, whatever it is that you want to do, Christopher, if it's real estate, if it's online, if it's a brick and mortar building, find someone playing the game at the highest level possible, online, my stuff, and get as much, you're here, get as much value as you can, but don't let what I'm sharing today, you might think, oh, this is all good, Dean, but I want to start making money on Amazon. That's what people think, like, or Dean, this is good, but I want to start flipping my first house doing a wholesale deal. And they're like, bypass that, realize going upstream, this is the stuff you need. Because if you don't have the enthusiasm, you don't have the innovation, you don't have the power, you don't have the transformation of that heartache that doesn't drag you down. If you don't do that, if you don't do those things, then it doesn't matter if it's Amazon or real estate or online, thank you, Mike, or anything else, it's not gonna work. So just you being here right now is gaining you so much resources that took me 30 years to figure out. But there's other places. There's so many great videos online for free. Whatever it is you want to do, search out who the best are, find their videos, find their interviews, find their podcasts. And when you can sacrifice, and I mean it, sacrifice money for things that aren't fueling your life, save it up, and then get the next level deep dive courses or training, or go work for somebody for free on the weekends. You want to be a great real estate agent or a real estate investor? Find someone great in your area and say, I'd love to work for free for you on the weekends. Listen, it's success tax. I use that word all the time. Everybody wants that next level of life. Most people aren't willing to put the work in. I'm not saying you are, Christopher. You're here, man. That's awesome. But put the work in, because a little hard work now can mean a lifetime of abundance and freedom. All right, Christopher, great question. Okay, Irene, journaling has always been my weakness. Any tips? It's been your weakness, meaning that you don't do it, Irene. Here's the thing. Find something that does work, because you're spending time, maybe journaling's not for you. Maybe journaling's not it. I mean, here's the thing. I tried journaling. I did journaling for about a 9-month straight run, and it really helped my life. But my life went to another level that I don't journal right now, because when I wake up in the morning, I think of something I'm grateful for immediately. A lot of you, if you read my book, you know my morning routine. I think of something I'm grateful for immediately, like low level, like just being alive, or the sheets feel good, or I got a good night's sleep, or my kids are healthy, just to put my frame in that mind. And then I think of one thing that was a win for me the day before, because we always think about what we didn't accomplish. We don't give ourselves enough credit for what we did. So I go, oh wow, yesterday I closed that deal. Yesterday I had that moment with my son. Yesterday, me and my daughter, whatever it is. And then I think of one win for today. Today, one thing I'm absolutely going to accomplish is this. I do all that in just a few minutes. And right now, that works for me as good as the journaling, because I'm in a really good space in my life right now. I feel really enthusiastic, really energetic. I feel connected with my clients, with you guys, more than I've ever felt in my entire life. So I'm in a good space. I don't need to journal right now. Now, maybe somebody else give you different advice. There are phases in my life where I need to journal every day. I also need to set goals and then look at my goals literally every day. Right now, I'm probably looking at my goals once a month, but I teach people, look at them every day, journal every day, because if you're at a place where you want to grow, sometimes you need that. So you might say, hey, I'm going to journal every day for the next 45 days, next 90 days, and I'm going to see the trends of when I felt good and when I didn't. Like, that's what I loved about journaling, is I'd write down, I had a great day today because of these thoughts and these actions. Oh, today was a little tough because of these thoughts and these actions. Then I'd go back over the last 30 days and go, wow, when I do that, I don't feel so good. When I do that, I feel good. I'm going to do more of that and less of that. That's what journaling did for me, and I like looking back and see the emotions I had at that moment and getting it out. But find something that fits you. Journaling might be amazing for your best friend who's crushing it, but maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's practicing gratitude. Maybe it's 10 minutes of gratitude meditation, just thinking about all the things you love in your life, all the things that are good. Get in a space, shut off everybody around you. I don't know what it is. Find what works for you. Find what fuels you, because all I'm trying to help you do, Irene, is be the best version of you. Don't try to be someone else. And I'm not saying you are, but so many of us make those mistakes. Okay. Let's see. Next one is from Vanessa. What's up, Vanessa? Okay. People sometimes have a bias against me, and I have to prove myself more than others. How do I strike the balance between staying quiet and then smashing it? Okay. So people sometimes have a bias against me, and I have to prove myself. So for me, I used to feel I had to prove myself all the time. But now, and I hope I'm answering this right for you, but now I don't feel like I have to prove myself to anybody at all, unless it's somebody that's a needle mover. Is it the deal I want to close, the partner I want to bring on, the money I want to make, or the boss that you want to get the promotion from? If that's the case, then do it in a quiet, confidence way. Because here's what I know. Actions will show me if someone's a badass. I've had someone try to tell me, work really hard to prove it to me, and really they just put on a show. If you're here, I know that you're truly a badass because you use the word smashing it. So you are a badass. That's all I can say. So here's what I'd say is be the best version of you. Be the person you would like other people to be. You know, there's a great saying, it's Tony Robbins says in a relationship, if you're not sure, if you're like planning your escape, trying to get out of a relationship, he always says, why not try this? For the next 90 days, treat the end of your relationship like the beginning. Because sometimes if you treat the end of a relationship like the beginning, then there is no end. So what he always says is, spend the next 90 days being the exact person you would love your mate to be. Sometimes we're like, I wish they would give me more attention. I wish they were closer. I wish they'd ask questions. I wish they would listen. I wish they would wish. What about sometimes if we just be that person? Someone who listens more. You want somebody to listen more? Listen more. Someone who has your back more? Have their back more. Someone that does the little things without recognizing? Do the little things. So sometimes we just be the person we want others to be. And they'll mirror us. Like, wow, I got this. And then Tony says if you do that for 90 days and the person pushed further away and you're truly authentically, then maybe you got to decide, do we do counseling or do we end a bad relationship? I would say that kind of applies to you, Vanessa. Why not, instead of trying to prove yourself, why not just be the best version of you and be the person you would love them to be? And if they don't see that, then the hell with them. Maybe they shouldn't be in your life. And if it's someone you need for business, be the best version of you. And if they don't see it, then there's going to be someone else that does. Sometimes when you're trying here so hard and you're being the best version of you and this person doesn't see it, the person over your shoulder you didn't see coming taps you and goes, wow, I really like all that. What about us in a relationship, in business, and in life? So I would think about that and continue to smash it. What's up, what's up? Hey, don't forget to look at the action steps we've posted below. They are the perfect way to take your success, abundance in this crazy world to a whole nother level.